Hello, X-Men fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Zone Team Entertainment with me, your host, Jonathan, once again bringing you my thoughts and review for today's episode of X-Men 97, Season 2, Episode 7. And oh boy, this was a good episode. I really liked this episode a lot. There was nothing with Apocalypse, but it was more like the tension in this episode that kind of had some pretty cool moments in here. So if you have not seen this episode, spoilers ahead because, I'm going to spoil it. But yeah, this was a great episode, so let's talk about it. So we all know that the X-Men, they decided to build their own company, X-Corp, I think that's what it's called. So now they pretty much work in the jurisdiction of outside of the U.S., because X-Force is there doing their thing. X-Factor is the government's X-Men, if you want to call it that, doing their thing. But then, and I keep forgetting his name, when Sabretooth's son and Mystique's son decides he wants to run for president, he's talking about how he wants to get rid of mutants. He thinks they're a menace. He thinks President Kelly at this point has gone soft, gone, back on his word. Because remember, when he was Senator Kelly, he was all, hate the mutants, hate this, hate that. Now he becomes president. Now he kind of dipped down on it. Now he's kind of in favor of some mutants. Only certain mutants can get punished. Depends on what they do for their crime. So he thinks he's gone soft. So a group of Magneto followers, they decide to team up and go after him. And that includes having Colossus be a part of that. Now, Colossus was in Genosha with his sister Magik, which, by the way, if you guys didn't know that, Magik and him are brother and sister. And she was recently played in live action by Anya Taylor-Joy. Hopefully she comes back. Well, the character, I'm not sure about Anya Taylor-Joy playing it, but we'll see. So she dies through the events of Genosha. And Colossus, he just wants revenge. He wants revenge. He wants to take the man who pretty much helped, not really, handle it, did it to his sister, but he just wants to give it to people who just really hate mutants and try to make a safe haven. And then you have Exodus being a part of it, which, by the way, I didn't even think Exodus would be a part of this show. He shows up. He's like the leader of the team. You got him, Colossus, and the others. They form this kind of I guess, worshiping Magneto's, cause, hate all humans, protect mutants philosophy. They have their own place, to call home, which is the Savage Land. And X-Factor's got to try to figure out a way to get in there and save the dude who's been kidnapped because he's running for president, and that's a bad situation. But the X-Men get there first. And they're like, listen, we can take care of this. We don't need any bloodshed here. We'll handle it. So Nightcrawler, Rogue, Polaris, Bishop, they all go over to the Savage Lands to try to figure out a way to get him back and talk down to Colossus and his team just to make sure nothing goes crazy. But the problem is, when they get there, their powers don't work anyway. Because, of course, Mr. Sinister, remember, if you guys remember from Season 1, Mr. Sinister had his entire fortress there, and he was dampening people's powers just to make sure nobody bothered him, but the X-Men still beat him anyway. So they got these towers, so Bishop and Polaris has got to try to figure out a way to destroy that, so that way everybody else can use their powers. While that's going on, Exodus is like, yeah, let's just get rid of him for good, trying to tell Colossus to let's do it. And then, of course, Nightcrawler, being his half-brother, and also Rogue, being his half-sister, they show up. They're like, listen, can we just give him a trial or something? He needs a trial. If you're going to accuse this man of doing what he did, just give him a fair trial. Find him guilty, cool. I'll stay and represent him. If I lose, I'll be a part of your team. That's Nightcrawler talking. So, very, very good episode. I thought this was a very cool episode. They try to, I guess, reform his brother. He tried as much as he can, just because, he's not blue like he is or Mystique is, and he's more human like Sabretooth with no mutant powers, but he does have mutant parents and a brother and sister. They're trying to find a way to get his humanity on their side so that way he can be on the good side, but there's no turning him. He ends up assassinating Exodus anyway, and then Nightcrawler teleports him to Alaska, and then X-Force finds him, and then the day is saved. And then, Nightcrawler's kind of hurt. He's kind of hurt dealing with the fact that He tried to save his brother. He tried to convince Colossus. Even at the end of the episode, Colossus is like, yeah, you tried, didn't work for me because I was going to be the judge anyway. And you convincing me that your brother could be saved, didn't work, bro. So I thought that was pretty cool. Very cool episode. And then, of course, the big reveal at the end. You see X-Force show up to Apocalypse's location. They find him. And what do you know it? Apocalypse is dead. Or so we think. There are two possibilities that could happen. Because they find this body and it's all skeleton-like. His armor and he's all skeleton. So two things could have happened. Because they find a playing card. They find a playing card on the floor. Jubilee finds it. It's Gambit's, half burnt, obviously. Because Gambit got resurrected last week's episode. At the end of it, becomes a horseman. So two things could be a thing. Either Gambit betrayed him as a horseman because he went crazy and turned on his master and killed him. Or Apocalypse is using his body. He needed a new host, he needed a new vessel, and he's now in Gambit's body, and he's gone full dark side Anakin style. So that's the possibility that could be the next couple episodes, the next 2 episodes. We only have 2 episodes left, 8 and 9. But yeah, this was a cool episode. I enjoyed it. First of all, seeing Exodus in here was cool. Great character. Seeing Nightcrawler, seeing him trying to put his religious beliefs first over everything else and try to save his own brother. He knows his brother's scum. He knows it, but he's still going to try to save him because that's his brother. He's doing what the Lord would do. So cool, because he knows, Mystique abandoned him. Mystique betrayed Rogue. Mystique abandoned his brother too. And even Sabretooth was like, yeah, you don't got powers or mutant like I am, so I act what I can. Because Sabretooth don't care about anybody but himself. And killing Wolverine, that's his other ambition. So yeah, so I liked how Nightcrawler in this episode tried to be in his corner, try to show his brother, hey, listen, not all mutants are freaking scumbags, we're not all trying to destroy the world. You guys got to give us a break a little bit, It's kind of like in real life. There are certain people that a lot of people don't like, and then there are people out there who are trying to help them and make the world a better place. But there are people who are ignorant and don't listen. So he's one of them. So we'll see what happens. Will he be president? Hard to say. I mean, if Kelly can change, maybe. I doubt it, but I think he's so down the rabbit hole to be able to even think about changing. I don't think it's gonna happen. He might even betray Kurt at one point. We'll see. He might thank him for sparing his life, and then eventually stabbing him in the back, just like how we did with Exodus. And then Colossus, he's gonna still try to go after him himself because of what happened with Magic. So only time will tell. But very good episode again. I like this episode. The fact that the ending showing either Apocalypse is dead because Gambit went psycho. The fact that he came back to life and went psycho and killed Apocalypse, or Apocalypse using his body as a new jumpsuit. So we have to wait to see what happens next week's episode. But overall, this was a good episode. I really did enjoy this episode. It wasn't like filler episode. It doesn't really play mind to the story. This episode, it didn't really have that, let's go find Apocalypse and try to stop him, but let's also do the side mission kind of a thing. It wasn't like that. It was more of like, let's do the side mission that, leads into the entirely of what X-Men is about the entire, they can be fighting Apocalypse, they can be fighting Sinister or Magneto or whatever, but the most dangerous villain that they're always going to have to face is racism. That's always going to be the main enemy of the X-Men world and the mutant world as well. So seeing that episode kind of play forward and seeing a human who has mutant parents get kind of prosecuted in a way of mutants to take him out, because what he's been splitting, saying, even though it's freedom of speech and he's been doing these things as well, and finally getting his upcomings, in the eyes of the mutants, but you see other mutants try to save him because that's the right thing to do, and they don't want to spark more wars. That's already going on the planet when it comes to the mutants. So yeah, again, very good episode. I enjoyed it. And then adding that little, don't forget about Apocalypse. He's still a threat in this season. and then seeing his dead body, either he's actually dead because of Gambit is going to be the new threat, or Gambit is now Apocalypse wearing Gambit's body, and Gambit's officially dead and he's not coming back at all, even in season 3. Because if he's being mind controlled and he's not, not Apocalypse, then there's hope that they can find a way to save him, break the spell, whatever. But if he's gone full dark side because Apocalypse is in him, I don't know how you have to try to figure out how to separate him without killing Gambit again. So we shall see. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Did you guys like it? Not like it? You guys are just waiting for the entire thing to end to watch all of it at once. Whatever it is, leave me a comment below. Let me know. Stay tuned for more. Thank you very much, and have a good night.